On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
The type of man that she is seeking, she can't have. I mean, like he didn't lie.
They are.
I
The
mean, every
issue is
now and then
her.
it might
It's
be
not
like a
even Kevin
0.9%
Samuels.
He
chance
may not
that she
get a
might better
brother.
get with a high value
Listen,
man, but most high value
JR,
men, that's what you say.
he may
Go
not
ahead.
get a brother, but she's gonna probably come across a white boy, a white man
JR.
is gonna look at her and slap her up. Do you understand me?
Again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. Welcome to Lapeef, Let's Talk. And we're moving into our first topic. It's been a very controversial video that's out right now with Kevin Samuels. And a lot of you guys are familiar with the quote, you look average at best, you're going to die alone. You look average of all. So she's calling into his show outside of the time that people supposed to ask questions, and she kind of forced her way to be able to have him to be able to answer whatever questions she needed. So I thought that was pretty nice of him. And she already knew what to expect. I don't think that anything that he said was wrong. I think he was just straightforward. He was straight to the point, and I didn't see no lies. That's just how I personally feel about it. I know a lot of people say that they don't really like his approach, his delivery, but I mean, to me, he had to be straight up with her, because if he wasn't straight up with her, then she would be out here doing the same thing, and she wouldn't be getting where she want to be with the guys that she's looking for. So that's just my take on it. But I want to start with you, Kia, since you are a guest.
Okay.
How did you feel when you first heard that video?
Um, Let me say first of all, it's not so much his approach. He's just rude. And here's the thing: if you don't want to take the call, don't take the call. But kindness comes a long way. You can still be kind and talk to someone, saying that they honored and stuff. His delivery was just garbage, just trash. That's just my opinion. In regards to what he said, in regarding her looks, most men marry class like. So if she's a six-figure woman, most people marry their same class. That's just period. I've seen a lot of maybe not so attractive women married to men that, in my opinion, may be average. And most men marry safe. If we want to keep it 100, they marry safe. They may date the 10 or 9 or whatever, but they normally marry safe. And when you look around, all these men on TV and in your regular life, these all women are not 10s. It's just not a reality. So she's dating equivalent to her salary, and I don't see anything wrong with that. That's just my opinion. If she making six figure, she's gonna hang around people that's like her, that do the same things that she does, and she's gonna probably encounter someone that's gonna like her. That's my
Okay.
opinion.
Anton, when you saw this video, what were your thoughts?
So let me add a caveat to that though, Kia, is that when you're looking at a lot of these guys on TV and they're in these long-term relationships and they've been married for a long time, Kevin Samuels mentioned it, in which a lot of these relationships were cultivated in a space where they were very earlier in a career, or they didn't get them on the way up. So when you say that they're marrying safe, you got to add a caveat to that. If you look at Kevin Hart's ex-wife versus the wife that he got now, I think it's a little bit of a difference in the look. Let's just say that of the woman that he married. But again, I know that a lot of people have problems with the delivery, and the overwhelming majority of the people that I see have problems with Kevin Samuels' delivery is women and some men. But the overwhelming majority of the people that I hear have problems with it is women. But what I will say is they only have a problem with the delivery when it comes to other women. When he's getting on men, that's not highlighted as much. It's not captured as much. But he has the same energy for people when they're looking to date up, or they don't quite understand the dynamics of the hierarchy when it comes to what men want versus what women want. And what men are looking for most of the time has nothing to do with your financial circumstance or situation when you're a high value man. The criteria is a little bit different, and it does matter. I'm not saying it just doesn't completely matter, but it isn't as high on the scale or the spectrum as far as what women think that high value men is looking for. So I think that's just the caveat that I want to add to that part of the conversation. And I'm not saying that Kia is wrong, But I'm just saying that context matters when we're dissecting exactly what who Kevin Samuels is, and whether or not he's telling facts versus whether we're.
Okay. Tawana, when you first saw the video, what was your thoughts on it?
I'm sorry. Do y'all hear feedback? I feel like
No, I think we good. I don't hear any feedback.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I think initially I hear some, but as long as you guys don't hear it, that's fine. Initially I was like, let me hear the entire video because the clips kept going around on the internet. Like, so I'm like, let me hear exactly what was happening in this video. But the problem that I have is that she called him in the first place to ask him for opinions about herself. And that to me tells me a lot about how she feels about herself and how she values herself. Because he asked her how she ranked herself, and she herself gave a 5. And then she said, well, I'm a 6 when I do my makeup, right? So she has this idea that makeup makes her better. And it's not supposed to make you better. It enhances you. So the fact that she called, and see, to me, it seems to me like Kevin, he looks for these type of women, right? These women who are just really insecure or desperate or really in a place where they really just don't know who they are. And these are the women he likes to advise. And these are the women who seek his advice. And that's absolutely fine. But you have to understand that a woman with confidence will do research on a man that they ask advice from. And then they want to know, what's this man's history? What is he like? Who is he? Why does he bring any value to my life? Like, why is he going to be able to tell me anything that's going to take me to the next level? And I don't really think she did, because if she did, she would even ask him his opinion, because this man is an image consultant. That's what he does. So he all about the exterior. That's all he cares about. He cares about nothing else. And I did my research because that's important to me. Who's feeding me? Who's telling me stuff? Because if you are trash in your real life, and if you don't represent what I represent, and you don't represent what I believe is valuable, then why should I even entertain you? And so therefore, the fact that she entertained him was fine. But the fact that this man speaks in absolutes, and he has this elitist attitude as if he has some superiority over certain type of men, is the problem that I have with him. He cannot speak in absolute. Life is so unpredictable. And there is never an exact science to anything. There can be some circumstances where, yes, I believe that is, some men who make those type of salaries are driven by exterior things. But I also believe that women can cultivate certain things in their life and get any man that they want. I think that's what you need to focus on, is cultivating yourself and cultivating the things that you have to bring to the table. But he didn't tell her that. So I always question, what is his premise? Like, what is his purpose? And why do women feel the need to call him to get advice on how to move forward in their life? Because his purpose is not to uplift you. His purpose is to break. Like, that's what he does. So when you call, you should expect that he's going to tear you down. He's going to break you apart. And if you are a weak person, or if you're naive, or if you're insecure, or if you're desperate, he is going to devour you into pieces. And so I didn't expect anything else. All he did was repeat to her everything that she said about her own self. So she told him that that's what she was. That's how she feels about herself. And then he repeated it to her. And so that's the situation she put herself in. And I don't know why women feel the need to get his support or to get his guidance. But I think that women, they need to find out who they are. And that's who you need to focus on. And that's the type of stuff that was my initial reaction to it. Because that's what I feel about him. Like, why is this man getting so much credit? Because he is kind of like a dating coach, which, his credentials lack a little bit. I just don't understand what he does for a living. So why do people validate him in such a way? But they do. men get advice from him. From what I understand, he doesn't really even have businesses that he started. Like, so I'm just looking at his credentials and I'm trying to figure out what exactly gives him the right to give a woman any to break her down and make her feel that she can't accomplish what she wants to accomplish, what she thinks she deserves. And I don't agree with that.
Anton, you want to respond to that?
I guess the thing about it is one thing that I think that she did get that was right was that he not looking for like to tear people down. They're calling, giving their credentials, they're saying things and they're presenting themselves. And if it wasn't a problem, then they wouldn't be calling in the show in the first place. So it's almost like, what are we talking about? Are we acting like there's a narrative that's being carried out like all of these women has just got all of these options and things are just so awesome and everything? No, there is a hierarchy and people are trying to date above where, like, they have these great expectations, and just because you want it don't mean that you qualified for it. And it reminds me of people that go for these jobs that they're not ready for it. Like, fam, you're not credentialed. Like, you're not ready for that job. That job is above what it is that you're used to. So let's be clear on what the expectations are. And if you're able to meet those expectations, then that's fine. That's one thing. But if you're not able to meet the expectations, and we're talking about humans, you know what I'm saying? It's not like there's a clear criteria. We're talking about people and their desires. So if the overwhelming majority of men and men that we're considering that these women are saying that they're seeking are saying that I want these high value men, right? And then these high value men say, okay, well, this is what I'm expecting from this type of woman. She has to be high value also. And this is what I define as high value. And then people get mad when they hear what these things are. It don't really matter how you feel. It only matters about the results. And the results are that these are the type of women that high value men look for. And if you have not grown up with this man and you did not build a relationship prior to them getting to the space that they are now, they're looking for something different. That's my response.
Can I ask a question? Is this basically for African Americans, or is he just speaking primarily to us, or is he speaking to all races? Because when I look at other races, their women and wives and girlfriends are average, seriously, and they are making quite a bit of money. And so I wonder if he's speaking directly to African American men, as far as African American standards, that they have to, because they make that type of money, this is what they're looking for. Because when you go to your functions at work and you see your bosses, that's the presidents of the company, their wife looks average.
But again, a lot of times in those circumstances, like if you look, let's just say like you take a Denzel Washington, right? Or you take CEO of these companies or so on and so forth. Like the overwhelming majority of these relationships were cultivated in an earlier space prior to that guy becoming high value, right? He may have had potential. He may have been on his way up. Like when Michelle Obama met Barack Obama, like he wasn't the Barack Obama that we see today. You know what I'm saying? But that relationship was cultivated earlier in their careers prior to him becoming Barack Obama that he is today. But to answer your question directly, and I just want to clarify, he's speaking to people in general. The overwhelming majority, I think, of the people that have these conversations generally is just based off of our social circle. So if you follow a lot of people that look like you, the overwhelming majority of the conversation is going to be based off of women and men that look like us and, you know, pertaining to that specific demographic. But he speaks towards, and I watch his shows pretty regularly, he speaks towards men and women in general. And he has taken calls from other races and things like that. It's just that the ones that seem to go viral seem to be pertaining to women that look like us, I guess. So,
okay.
Well, in that specific episode, he said Black women particularly have issues in this. Like he specifically said that Black women are the ones that have issues in this area, and that, you know, we are more than any other race overwhelmingly single and things like that. So to me, it seems as if it was targeted at the Black woman in that particular episode. And I don't know his other episodes. I did watch a few others just because I wanted to get context and get some information about this man. But yeah,
but that's a fact though. Black women are having more trouble than any other women in any race. as far as acquiring, getting married at later rates or at later ages in their life. That's a fact. That's not him just having his opinion. That's something that he's stating that's true.
I never said it was opinion. I'm
Pertaining
saying
to
that that's what happened. I didn't say it was opinion. That's what
right,
happened.
but the woman that he was talking to and why he stated that specific thing, the woman that he was talking to happened to be African American.
Nix, I know that you are one of the biggest fans of Kevin Samuels, so that's why I saved you for last. I want to get your thoughts when you first saw the video.
You know, I think every time I watch the video, I've had different perceptions on how I kind of encoded the information. But I really feel that for tonight, what I wanted to talk about is really like going back to what we had spoke about last week, root causes, where it's like I'm trying to look beyond his delivery of the information, what they actually discuss, but that's not my audience, the type of clients that call in. But I truly feel that, and I'm not trying to speak on behalf of all women, but I believe that, like, hey, he has an audience. I'm not part of his target audience, but I don't see the value in, two things. Really, I'm going back to the woman that called in. I think that a lot of the noise has been focused on Kevin Samuels himself, as far as the concept, the idea of who he is and who he presents himself as being versus who he is as a person. But the fact that we have women, not even from the angle of allowing someone to speak to them in that manner, but more so that this woman is leading from monetary return on investment as her primary reach to find a man. And I don't know. I just think that, like, we're at a point in our society where I get that, Anton and I would joke about, like, hey, you want to date in your weight class and things like that. But it's an aspect that I just don't feel comfortable, that I can't support a man or woman being able to date someone off the strength of primarily focusing on how much money they make. And I feel that's what's wrong with our society, that we've gotten to the point of looking at transaction, monetary return, lifestyle, and things like that. That now is like, well, whether I'm vibing with this person or not, whether I'm attractive with this person or not, whether I can be with that person or not, have children with that person or not, get married with that person or not, that now gets kicked further down on the priority list. And the thing is, I actually listened to the thing a few times, and she was very clear of what she wanted. I appreciate her honesty. My issue was more so that was her sole focus of staying, because you know what? She was stating that she wanted to date someone that she felt that she didn't have to date down, which ironically, sadly, I thought of Anton and our ongoing debate about dating up and dating down. I specifically told Anton that these people don't exist. At least people that I know in my circle don't exist. But this is like an inverted approach where now you have this woman stating that she can't date down to a guy. Because I feel like it's a part of me that feels that, as a woman, as an adult, really, not even as a woman, as an adult, you should know who you are and take that time to figure out who you are. And if she needs to hear it from Kevin Samuels to figure out who she is, so be it. But the thing is, he did allude to something about the aspect of mental health. I think that everybody needs to really take some time and reflect as to what they want, who they represent. Because honestly, is that what she represents? The fact that she called up there and allowed herself to be victim as one of his clients on the show. And the thing is, she continued. She was not moved. She was not bothered by anything he said. She was still seeking advisement. So it's more so about the issue that we have this 35-year-old woman that is still seeking guidance and direction from somebody outside of herself, from within. So going back to external locus of control, she still is allowing societal things around her to dictate what she should need out of her life. Other people, other men, other perspective, that she can't figure it out on her own. And the fact that she's a mother and approaching 40, which is closer to 50, which is closer to the midway point of our lives, that she still has not yet figured it out. My issue, honestly, at this point, it goes beyond Kevin Samuels. Because the thing is, Kevin Samuels is no different than the Steve Harveys and every other man that wants to now create a space to give relationship advice, right? So the thing is, hey, that's their audience. I'm not trying to mess up nobody's bag. He obviously has people that's investing into getting to know him and want to actually pay to get his advice. I'm not one of those people, but I think we need to go back to why does this woman feels that she has to call in, allow herself to be victimized, to be basically treated as a kid. That's like a conversation I have like a teenage daughter or cousin or family friend or something like that. It's like at age 35, you got this business making over 6K for 3+ years. Good for you. Good for her. But she still has not been fulfilled. So that's the part that is really like folks are broken. As a society, we live in a society where folks are truly broken. And that's why relationships do not work. That's why we have shows like this to talk about it, because there's so many people that don't know who they are and they enter relationships not knowing who the fuck they are. And then guess what? Now you got an unhappy relationship. And then it creates this cheating. It creates this dissension. It creates all these other issues because, Anton, you mentioned this months back. People need to actually think about what they're doing before they enter a relationship. She needs to work on herself independently, minus Kevin Samuels.
When I
Anton,
watched the
go
video,
ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. When I
No, you
watched
go
the
ahead.
video though, I felt like she was explaining that the type of men she dated were men who typically like she had to give them business advice or she had to kind of elevate them. That they were like trying to be a part of her business, like, oh, you got your own business. Okay, can I, be a part of that? Or they wanted to always kind of um, give off her success. And she wanted, I think that in her mind, she felt like, okay, how do I attract these men who have their own thing going on and we can both elevate each other?
But you know what? She also
That was
led
kind
with
of her
justifying
approach.
her body as well as
Right,
that being able to elevate her status.
right,
Again,
right,
that's another strike against her. I don't know how many strikes I gave this lady the
right.
more I listen to this. As a woman, as an adult, get your shit together, like before you call in on the show like that. Because honestly, I'm a man, but I
Yeah.
don't need to hear no advisement from Kevin Samuels. I respect what he does, but it's not my audience. So I
I
can't
just
support or defend her. She needs
I
to
don't
figure out
understand
what's
that.
going on with herself first.
I don't understand any woman who needs advice from him, but that's my opinion. Them, Steve Harvey, nobody. I just don't understand why do you even need a man to tell you anything about being a
But
woman. That's my
But you
opinion.
know what? Just a sidebar. Hey, I don't know if my cuz listening. Hey, Moolah. Hey, I just wanted to say what up. But the thing is, we talked about this over the weekend, and me and him went back and forth about this. Because I said that those people don't exist, but obviously this woman confirms that there are people that do exist that are out there chasing the bag. And this is by way of chasing the bag through a person, as opposed not to say she don't got her own bag, but she trying to secure a bigger bag by dating someone, right? So the thing is, like, to me, that's backward.
Uh-huh.
But to her, hey, she's leading with that. She talked about money, business, and looks. That was her primary core of what she focused on. She
Right.
didn't talk about feelings. She didn't talk about vibes. She didn't talk about none of that. It was all
Character.
transact. It was business related. She needs a
Yep.
business partner, not a man.
Kia, I see you itching to
Yeah.
just say something. What you got to say?
Well, she feels like she's gotten to the point where she's making six figures, so she wants someone she feels is her equal financially. She feels like she's
Who
looking for
cares?
someone.
Who cares about the money?
I'm trying to tell you
What?
what
I
the
mean, I'm
girls
sorry,
care
Kia. I cut you off. I apologize.
Yeah. Come on, Nick.
about.
She care about the
You
money.
muted
She
me.
care about
You
the
muted
money.
me.
Look, so she wants someone that she feels is her equal and that's going to be able to add to her and not take away. That's the standpoint she's coming from. My thing is with him, like Maya Angelou said before, it's not you're not going to remember what people say. You're going to remember how they make how they make you feel. You're going to remember the tone, and so he made her feel like poop. Basically, he made her feel like crap. And I don't. And as Tawana was saying, Like if if I'm calling you for assistance, which I would never call this fool, I probably grow up and die first. But
That's right.
if I'm calling this fool for assistance, I was expecting you to give some good insight and some knowledge, not just saying you're going to die alone. If this girl had any type of low self-esteem, she probably gonna jump out the window after speaking with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is his purpose? Like, just to make a fool out of someone to make them feel bad?
He was just
Right.
That's his
being
target.
like he
That's
was.
who he wants.
She
He wants
allowed
those type of.
herself to.
He
She
was just
started
being
it off
straight
by
and direct.
calling on the night that was supposed to
He
be.
shouldn't have to sugarcoat nothing. He was just
What'd
being
you say,
straight
J.R.?
and direct. He shouldn't have to sugar. I said he was just being straight and direct. He was telling her the truth. You know, she
You
didn't.
never heard the quote,
Well,
truth
you know
without
what?
grace?
I will.
Truth without grace
know how I
is
am
point.
about
Like,
language.
you don't have any grace, don't tell them. You can't
You know
just
how I am
come
about
at
language.
people.
I mean, folks just got to
The
stop being
thing
so
is, that's his
sensitive.
place of business. That's his place
Yeah,
of
it's
business.
not
So,
what
no,
he
you
said.
can't. No, outright, you can't call.
I mean,
you can't call folks no broads. You can't make.
She called into his
generalizations,
show.
But the thing is,
She
that's his
called
place
into
of
his
business.
show. So because she
Yeah,
called into
so that's
his
his place
show,
of business.
he could run
Right.
the rules how he wants to. That's like his company. That's
Exactly.
his business.
So, case
She
in
called to
point.
seek information. She listened. He told her the truth. He didn't tell her no lies whatsoever. She needed to hear it like that
Well,
because
You did tell her some
she
lies.
probably haven't heard it. She probably haven't heard it like that
Yeah,
before. So
I will
I
say
respect
this.
the fact
You're absolutely
that he
right,
was straight
JR.
up and
That
direct.
is his
He ain't
place of
sugarcoat
business.
nothing. What you say, Nick?
Well, you know what? But see, that's the thing. That's his place of business. That's how he conduct business.
Right.
I can't. I work for an employer.
But she
So the thing
respected
is,
it.
I can't say what I want
Like
to
the
say.
people
So
that call
I give
in
him
respect
credit.
it.
She didn't
Well,
respect
she's
him
silly
because
for
she kept
calling in
looking.
for one.
She was looking at her phone, right, and just ignoring him. At the
She was taking notes. That's what she was
You
doing.
know what? We will be having a whole nother conversation if
Yeah.
Kevin Samuels was a.
She said she
Imagine if
taking
Kevin
notes.
Samuels
taking
was
notes.
a white man.
She
Imagine if
look.
Kevin Samuels was a white man.
She
Talking
was
to
having a
that
hard
black
time
woman.
understanding. She
Folks
had to
would
write
have been
that
up in
stuff down. I
arms,
don't
right?
blame her.
No,
It's
seriously.
so funny.
If Kevin
If
Samuels
there was so
white,
many
we
of
would
us
be
who
having a
listen
whole
to
nother
him,
combo.
if women listen to him, we would not even have a man have successful relationships.
Hey, women
We
have
would
all
be a
type of
less
standards. Men
than-
can have standards as well. Women
And
have
we
all
would
type of
have-
standards.
You know what?
Men can have standards as well.
Hey,
She
And
started
like the
calling.
type of
issue is
man,
hers.
the type of man that she is seeking, she can't have. I mean, like he didn't lie.
They are. The
I mean, every
issue
now
is
and then it
hers.
might
It's
be
not
like a
even Kevin
0.9%
Samuels.
chance
may not
that she
get a
might better
brother.
get with a high value
Listen,
man, but most high
JR.
value men, that's what you say.
She may not
Yeah.
get a brother, but she's gonna probably come across a white boy. A white
JR.
man is gonna look at her and slap her up. Do you understand me?
That's right.
I'm saying that black men may have a problem with her, but not
I got an issue with
other
her.
races. They'll find her
I got an
beautiful
issue with her.
because
She need to
She a
grow up.
dog lover too, so she might need to expand her horizons. I mean, I saw that. She got her a pet shop.
Hey,
You know, go ahead, girl. Get you another man then.
look,
What you want to say,
it's
Nick?
sad, bro. This is all sad. Cause the thing is, that's somebody's mama, and she still ain't figured it out. She ain't figured out how to be.
It's
an
a lot of
adult.
people that ain't figured out. That's why they on social media trying
That's
to get
why this
validation.
shit is sad.
It's a lot of people
Honestly,
ain't
we
figured
live
out.
in a
It didn't
sad
start with
society
him.
right now.
Lots of people.
You know what?
They
They
don't
figured
lost
it
in
out.
translation though,
She
Jr. Is that
got her own business. She got children, and she still ain't figured it out. And I'm not saying that you're supposed to know all things.
And that's why she need
but
therapy.
She got to come better.
all right? So B Nix, let me ask you a question. She a baby mama. She make whatever she makes. She look however she look. You this high value guy that makes, let's just say, $500,000 a year. Is she on your hunting list?
She's on my what list?
Is she on your hunting list?
Her particularly, I don't like what she's about personally or how she looks. Period. So hell no. She be walking down the 9 right now.
Exactly.
Well, I ain't
Exactly.
interested.
So when you get
But the
done
thing
with
is,
all, wait,
case
wait,
in
wait, wait,
point,
stop,
it's not
stop,
about
stop,
the money
stop.
though. That's my
Stop,
issue.
stop.
My issue
So
is that she
when you get done with
looking at
all of this,
monetary return.
when you get done with all of this, he's not my audience, and I don't understand, and all of this. When you removed all the layers and you got down to the nitty gritty, the truth is still a truth. So you may not like the messenger, and that's cool. That's a completely different conversation. But as it relates to the message resonates. And I hope people is paying attention to the fact that if you have these high expectations, it's not incumbent on the person that you're seeking to accept you. We have standards too, and the standards are very clear, aligned more closely with Kevin Samuels' perspective than people like to admit. And when they get over the message still stands.
But you know
what
what,
bothers me, Anton, because that's not my standards, bro. Like, I sit up here on this show every day.
You just told us your standards. You just told us your standards.
Those credentials. You think I never sat up here talked about no money, talked about no degrees? I'm sitting on a doctorate degree, but I never bring that up.
What you did say is that you wouldn't date her.
Because she was after money. That's why he wouldn't date her.
Because of her value. They don't align with his value.
He said her looks too. He said her looks too. He said her looks.
Hell yeah. I gotta be attracted to you. I'm not just gonna date somebody I'm not attracted to, but that's
okay, but you know what? Tawana, you know what I suggest you do, just like Grace Jones and all these other women that may not be like the standard American beauty pageant women. Do just like everybody else do and go over there and get your white boy. You know, in the UK and all around the world, they don't look at looks like that. This is the black man.
That's right.
To each his own. But my thing is, I'm not even saying as men, because obviously we got 3 men on here. We all disagree. My thing is, if I'm looking to date, I'm not looking for how much money they make or what type of degree they got. Period. I've never been that way. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like I need a resume of your credentials before I'm able to enter a conversation.
But wait, you can't say you never been that way because you married the chick that you grew up with, basically. So you don't align
now you're
with.
Trying to knock me out of contention because of that. Like,
because you can't say I never grew up that way because you are the very guy that Kia described that I said that you are, that I was trying to describe to Kia. You grew up with
I know that. But the thing is,
right, so what are we talking about?
That's a variable. That's one variable, Anton. And the thing
it's
is,
a
just
huge
like
variable,
right? Because
it's a huge variable.
No, because there's other variables too. The same people that get money, they leave certain neighborhoods, right? The thing is, I could say, you know what? I need to
broaden her horizons.
I specifically came back and work and live and work in the same neighborhood I grew up in. That was intentional. That wasn't by accident.
You're changing the subject,
when they get money, they got to be a different person.
We talking about relationships, not neighborhoods, bro.
No, but the thing is, this all goes back to what you represent and what type of person you want to date. All this.
You just said out of your own mouth. We posed the same scenario to you. You said it out of your own mouth. Nah, that's a hard pass.
No, I said off personality. I said, like, I didn't say just off looks, bro. I said also off her personality.
But what about looks? And looks, right? And looks, right?
She's super immature.
See, don't try to disregard what I just said just because.
No, I'm not. I'm acknowledging what you said, but I'm also adding something to it. And looks, though, right? And looks, right?
That ain't me. You can't force nobody to date somebody not attracted to.
You see that? And JR, and this is why we say he should run for president, because he know how to dodge a question.
I didn't say nothing about money. I specifically said money was not what I was leading with.
Right.
I gave you my 2 facts.
I didn't say money. I said looks. I said looks specifically. I didn't say nothing about no money.
And why we acting like all men have the same beauty standards? I mean, there's men.
But that's not like you
attractive. I don't understand that. Like,
that's because they all. I'm telling you, it's just the black. He's looking at from his viewpoint and his viewpoint only, and he has a very broad. He has a very narrow viewpoint. And the fact of the matter is, if you go around the world, if you even just go into the suburb, period, okay, and you get around some other culture, she's going to be just fine. Trust me. Yeah. So that's his opinion.
Yeah, Anton, you listen to the show as well. One thing Kevin Samuels did say, whether you got money or not, you think a man is actually looking to say, like, well, how much money she making? That's the thing, is like one of those, like, that ain't me. So the thing is, that mean, am I in support of Kevin Samuels? Not so much. But the thing is something that I can't say. That's an intersection point. I'm not leading with looking for a woman based on how much they make, what type of degree they got, or where they work. And the thing is, that's one thing that she focused on. That was her primary focus, trying to date someone that is 6 figures, not making money, but specifically 6 figures.
So the real question is,
$100,000. That's
the real takeaway.
Well, she was asking, should she, right? Because that's how unsure she is with who she is. She was asking him, hey, can you tell me, should I be going after these type of men? Because see, this is the type of men I'm dating, and this is what I'm getting. So maybe if I do this, I'll get a different reaction. So that was what she was saying. She was asking him.
And when you
He
get done,
basically told her to
chasing,
give up all hope and dreams, and she gonna die alone. And
He sure did.
Hey,
but that's the thing. The
it's just an
biggest
opinion.
problem.
It's not even funny. I don't even know why I'm laughing because it's really
The
not.
biggest problem within our community is that we lead with hope. Hope does not produce results. So it like
You
just
could
to
call
say
it hope.
you got a dream
Hey,
or you
I
got
call
hope.
it growth mindset. You could call it whatever you want. I lead.
That's
with
what
that,
it's called.
man.
It's a,
That's what
to
means
hope. It
different.
says is growth mindset. That's what it is.
That's what it's called.
Oh
Growth
God,
mindset.
Jesus Christ! And that's why
It's
you
true.
find these
It's fact.
chicks, and that's how you find these chicks moving the way that they move, having unrealistic expectations, and like for example,
We wouldn't have
no,
got.
hold on. Like
go
for
ahead,
example, she led with "This is what I make," and then she also added the caveats of "I'm also a baby mama" and all of this. It's very clear amongst high value men that one of the most or the greatest gift that you can give to a high value man, as a woman, is childbirth. That's just a fact. And no high value man in most situations, and again, B Mix, we very clear when we talking about high value men, we talking about the top 5%
Yeah, I'm
of
not
men
that.
in general,
I'm making
right?
it clear for the audience.
Well, I'm not judging you, so I don't know what you
No, I'm
are,
just putting
but
it
I'm
out
just
there.
saying in general, the top.
Which is like 5% of
Most
men in the
men
world.
don't want to go into a relationship and take care of several other men's kids. That's number one. Number two, we don't really care about how much money you make, fam. That's real. That's just the caveat. That's very low on the list. Number three, you got to be bad. And we're not talking about people that grew up with a girl and he married his high school sweetheart or something like that. We talking about the guy that's getting it, that has all the options in the world. Yo, you're going to have to be at the top of the list. And just because you hope for it and you pray for it, God love me too. And he not going to put me with no ooga booga just because you prayed for me. I'm straight. Get on out of here, man. Like, let's just be real about it. Get on out of here. Find somebody aligned with where you're at. Let's be equally yoked in your own space and keep it moving.
But see, that's my thing, Anton. Like, you still, like, I actually don't think that what you just said is no different than what I said. My thing is, I really don't care about the money part, man. You broke down everything I've said just from a different lens. So I'm not disagreeing with you. My only thing
Which
is that,
basically means that you agree with Kevin Samuels too. You agree with Kevin Samuels too then? That basically means that you agree with Kevin Samuels too then?
No, because there's some things I don't agree with. So I'm not going to sit up here and give him full support. My issue is, and just like with you, Anton, not to say that you and him are similar. My issue with you, since we've been on the show, has always been on how you deliver the content, not necessarily what you say. I still feel it's a certain way you need to speak to people, and that's something that is hard for me to continuously defer and give respect to somebody like a Kevin Samuels if that's the way you communicate. I get that.
But if we look at
that ain't my brand.
But if we look at the results of what I say and how I say it, and we look at the comments that come in on our channels and stuff, people align with my delivery and they say, yo, I feel what you're saying.
That's your audience.
So our audience is just my audience. It's all of our audience.
You can say people can support me in the comments too, but that's not my outcome of being on the show.
That's right. Who cares? I mean, who cares? But it's our opinions. It's like we can we should validate our own selves. We have our own lives and our own story. We don't have to be validated by the.
But we're not talking about validation.
That is validation.
We're not talking about validation.
That's exactly what you described.
We're talking about people being able to receive the message. And so if you're saying that, specifically, I use that as an example for people that missed the point. If you're saying that delivery matters, I'm telling you that it matters in a way that a lot of people that we're not identifying, just because it's popular to say you need to speak nice. I'm telling you that if we go by the metrics and we go by what people are responding to, including not only on our channel, but people that aligns with Kevin Samuels, I'm telling you that delivery matters and people want to hear that direct delivery. It's not entirely based off of just what we think.
Hey,
people respond positively to the truth.
If that's his workplace, cool. But you can't, like, I couldn't show up in my job calling folks broads, calling black folks niggas, and going all the way down the list. It's just some universal things you do and don't do. Same way folks are sitting up here mad about with the twerking in the restaurant. There are societal do's and don'ts, right? So don't say you can't twerk, but you could call folks broads. You can't have it both ways. And the thing is, if I need to be the person to say continuously it is about delivery and approach, so be it. If they agree with you, that's cool, Anton. That's your audience. I'm not, and that's why I didn't want to get into the idea and the concept of Kevin Samuels. The core issue is the fact that we got women out here that still lead with the fact that they try to secure the bag through a man. So guess what? I'm that man that's not a high value man, right? Because I'm not in that top 5 to 10%. So you know how many men out here, going back to the deception conversation, they deceive women. We talked about with the fake rings and all this. They do all this in order to impress this woman that really ain't figure herself out either, because they think that that's my way in getting a high value woman. So that's why I said in our society, everything's messed up, man. And she's one of those. She's an example of that.
I feel like
Samuels. It's the women and the men that support this type of behavior.
Well, you know, men support the behavior too, because we all know that men are into looks, and women like men most times for stability, you know, for money, stability. That's just the way it was, and that's just the way it is. Men get these flashy cars. The flashy cars is not for them. It's just so they can say, "Hey, look at me, I have some money," or you know, they get this certain type of house or whatever. So you can say, "Look at me, I have some money." That's what it comes down to. The whole society is that way. You know, and now we coming down to the basic, trying to get back to the core values of why you should be with someone. But in all honesty, that's what America's on. That's what we built on, money.
I guess we're going
And I just feel like with her, she needs confidence. Period. Because I've seen some women that I'll be looking like, hey, they got
Hold on, wait.
I agree with Kevin Samuels. He said that she needs to speak with someone from a mental health and wellness aspect. That
I agree with.
You do need confidence.
Let me just address what Kia just said real quick. Like, how can you say she needs confidence?
She needs it.
But the core issue of who she is that the very thing that you just said that men do is what she's leading with. The first thing that she was saying on the show was, I want to talk to this type of guy. And that guy that she identified was leading with money. So you can't say that she needs confidence when she's aligning herself based off of these very values that you say that men are doing.
Well, here's the thing. She made that comment because she's been dealing with guys who don't make as much money as she do, and she's finding that they're trying to come up. That's what she's saying. She says, I would prefer to have someone on my equal level who's making about the same amount of money as I, so we can hustle together and rise together. I don't think she was coming from that angle that you guys are suggesting. She was saying, I'm dealing with these guys, and instead of them trying to motivate me or get to the next level, they asking me to lift them up. I want somebody that's already there. That's all she was saying.
That's all.
Hey,
that's all. There was nothing wrong with that.
My issue is still with her. And if anything, just like in a job, Anton, she needs to do better with her talent acquisition. She needs to do a better job of selecting who is it that she's trying to date. And she thinks that this is sustainable for her to find this type of six-figure person, man, she will be alone, but for different reasons, man. So that's why I'm saying, while we so worried about the way Kevin Samuels described it, I don't care. That's in the parking lot right now. The issue is that we got adults, grown men and women that live in a fantasy and they're chasing dreams. That's in
the parking lot for you.
Hey, it's been going on for years. It ain't nothing new.
It's
been going on for years.
His approach is number one, in my opinion.
His approach is
it's number one. That's the issue. That's
trash.
It is a problem. Yes. So yeah, we could talk about her and her. Yeah, I felt like she had some issues, and I felt like, and I
approach might have helped
how I felt about her. But I also agree with Kia. And I think she was rude.
This
approach might have helped.
You have a Kevin Samuels because you have men and women.
He don't have no
very select audience that I'm not a part of.
None.
But that's why I can't rock with this.
Exactly. So what you say, Tawana?
No credentials. None.
Because he's able to,
we value opinions from men. We have no idea what they come from, what type of life they live, what type of situations they also have created for themselves. But we take their advice and hold them to this standard. And that's exactly why we have a lot of these false prophets and people that people follow, because they just don't even try to research and find out who they are investing in. I just don't.
Everybody's a life coach. Anton, you a life coach. Everybody life coach in these days.
Well,
it's a con.
I mean,
it's
funny,
actually a con.
but true. I give.
It's
I
not
give
a con. I
Kevin
mean,
Samuels doing
there's a
little
lot of
bit
people that don't go to
homework on
college
him.
that
I
don't
give him
have no
respect.
credentials. That's still smarter than the people that
I do give Kevin
that have the
Samuels
credentials.
respect on his.
I never
grind
said
and
that
what
you
he
had to go to
got.
college.
I'm a life coach too.
Well, I'm just
But
saying,
you
like,
definitely have to study your craft. You have to know. You have to live that lifestyle. You have to have experience.
how you know he don't study his craft?
Listen, I did research on this man, okay, and there are several articles.
All right, so tell me some more information about him then.
Just go read
Hey,
the
I don't
article.
even care about no Kevin
tell me
Samuels.
about
Can we
him.
just move
The
on?
man
Like,
works in retail.
he's not the issue.
Okay? He is a retail, a personal shopper. He is a personal shopper.
He worked in retail, but he also graduated as a chemical. Was it a chemical engineer, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it was chemical engineering. Okay,
Yeah.
he went to school, and I respect his
Right.
grind.
Right. You know,
him
Nick
working
said
for
that
MCI.
Nick
all
know
that.
everything he
telling you.
did,
I'm
and
just
he
telling
said he
you.
respected. The only thing that you looked at was just his retail
No,
experience.
JR, I never said
I
that.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just
I
saying
didn't
to
just look at his retail experience. I looked at the fact that he's coaching men on business and what types of businesses have he ran successfully and what does he do as a man. That's what I focus on.
I mean, he seems
Because
very
that is
successful
his
right now.
premise. That is his premise. Okay. So
But like Wanda said,
And again, she had a choice whether she want to call or not. She chose to call in. She respected his opinion. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called in. She sat there through the whole thing. He hung up from her. She didn't hang up from him.
I mean,
I agree with you. She got problems. She needs some stuff.
Right. So she was
Hey,
taking it.
JR, but these are same people that wind up like taking life advice and celebrating somebody like Derek Jackson or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's so silly, bro, because like they'll berate everybody that they don't like, but nobody is really giving any insight or highlighting somebody that they do like from the community that's giving advice. But
Hey,
what it comes
a good thing, right? Go ahead.
What it comes down to is that
I have women that I value their opinion.
Like, I think this is good right here. He's giving his opinion. It's up to you if you choose to
I
listen
can
to
name
it.
several women that I think are very good at giving opinion, but will I listen to any of these men? No.
Mm.
All right.
And that's why, and JR, and that's the exact reason why you got so many women calling into his show. Real talk.